Lil Jeff's killer, who has since been absolved of any blame, is back in jail and has had to appear in court. Shockingly, his recent testimony might have involved a few snitching here and there, and guess whose name they say made the list? Lil Durk. Now rewind a bit. Remember when Durk's signee YFG Fatso called out the Bloodhounds and basically clowned them for being all talk?
All they other options, but everybody still dropping this song. Ain't nobody dropping, only thing dropping.
They say they killing all the other ops, but everybody's still dropping this song. Ain't nobody dropping this song. Not long after all the dissing started, Lil Jeff died and Fatso went on to celebrate, which got a lot of people asking, did Lil Durk have something to do with the murder? Well, Trap City's Rob just dropped some serious revelations, so let's break it down. Trap City. Rob snitched on Lil Durk in court. After police received intel that Trap City Rob was present at the shootout that claimed the life of Lil Jeff on June 08, 2024, they moved to arrest him. Although he was later acquitted of murder as his position in the crime scene showed that it was strictly self-defense, still, he has since been kept in custody. Word on the street is that Trap City Rob might be feeding the police with as much information as needed for this case. A suitable explanation to back this up would be that he wants a lighter sentence since he has been in prison for a different crime. Sources confirm that while Trap City Rob has been acquitted of Lil Jeff's murder, he was arrested again following his possession of a firearm. As a convicted felon and gun offender, he has no right to be in possession of any weapon. Also, official documents show that Trap City Rob did put up a bit of a struggle during his arrest with the police. So, despite being in the clear for murder, he might still have a string of lesser crimes hanging over his head. But is that why he has been talking to the cops and snitching on Lil Durk's OTF gang all for a reduced sentence? Before it gets all confusing as to whether we meant Lil Jeff or Lil Durk, let's understand the basics. It has been established that on June 08, 2024, Trap City Rob and Lil Jeff were involved in a shootout. According to the surveillance footage that picked up the incident, Lil Jeff and his crew appeared to be the aggressors, while Trap City Rob scurried for safety. They had attacked him in his hood, and in an effort to protect himself, he gunned down the Bloodhound superstar, Lil Jeff. Amid what was caught on camera, people say that Trap City Rob has managed to top up on his defense story, claiming that Lil Durk, who is in jail over murder for hire allegations, might have plotted the Lil Jeff scenario. While these may simply be allegations, it is important to note that Lil Durk and the OTF gang have once had beef with the Bloodhounds, particularly through one of their youngest signees. YFG Fatso, who was signed to Lil Durk's record label owing to his lyrical prowess and delivery, was headbutting the Bloodhounds at one time. While speaking on Hoops with J Mane, the young rapper was asked about his diss tracks that mentioned Bloodhounds Lil Jeff and Q50. YFG Fatso went on to share that the whole thing started unexpectedly, and it was over the lyrics of his own song. According to Fatso, Lil Scoom, who was a part of the Bloodhounds, was so mad over his Princeton freestyle that he called him up about it. Fatso, who claimed to be a chilled guy, was shocked, yet he tried to explain that the whole thing was senseless, as his songs were recorded long ago, and it was not a copycat of anybody's work. In fact, Fatso went ahead to accuse Lil Scoom of taking his lyrics after listening to his songs in the studio. Fatso goes on to tell J Mane,
like lyrics gang or like because we really arguing about. I got real beef.
Right, different.
Real going on. I ain't worried about nobody about no lyrics.
Okay.
But was chasing it like.
So amid the confirmation that he wasn't willing to keep headbutting with them, members of the Bloodhounds continued to beef with him. They took it a step further by orchestrating a social media drama surrounding the whole thing. Fatso confessed that he wasn't down with the charade, so when he ran into Lil Scoom during a jail visit, he confronted him over the online beef. At that point, Lil Scoom claimed there was truly no bad blood, but surprisingly, after that visit, the trolling continued on the internet. At first, Fatso paid zero attention until he could no longer take it, and that was when he released diss tracks addressing the issue. Following Lil Jeff's death, fans began to troll Fatso, adding that he only granted interviews about his beef with Lil Jeff when the coast was clear. In retaliation, Lil Durk's artist went on a live video expressing without restraint that he was never scared of Lil Jeff.
Really in me. Like, what the fuck? Y'all sound slow as hell to me. I was scared to leave the crib. On Shamaya, you sound slow. 5-6 months ago when I was on the bench, I was outside every day. When Lil Jeff was alive, I was outside every day. So y'all gonna stop all that scatter Lil Jeff.
In the same video, Fatso recounts how the whole beef started with him and the Bloodhounds. He maintained that it was over lyrics to the Nightcrawler song. For him, the beef was not worth it, as he was more focused on making money.
I didn't give a fuck about it because it's music. I'd rather make money as one than be arguing about stupid.
Regardless of what Fatso now claims, post Lil Jeff and Lil Scoom's deaths, fans of Chicago drill music will not be quick to forget that the rappers released raw diss tracks during the peak of their beef. While Lil Scoom teased Fatso for going after his lyrics in his diss tracks, the latter fiercely stood on business, defending himself via lyrics and claiming Lil Scoom was the lyrics thief. All of this back and forth was often shared on their Instagram stories. Nearly a year after Lil Jeff had died, Fatso resumed the beef season by touching on a sensitive chord where he called Bloodhounds rappers cap rappers. To him, he believed that they merely rapped about things they wished they could do, but never did.
How do you think it's so many in their songs and everybody still alive on every side? I ain't even just talking about us. Say they killing all they other options, but everybody still dropping this song. Ain't nobody dropping. The only thing dropping.
In the same live video shared on Reddit, Fatso corrected his fans who were majorly interested in talking about the Bloodhounds rather than his music. He maintained that the hype on them was too much, adding that they were never as tough as people thought. Via the comment section, fans chipped in their 2 cents. Some claimed that Lil Durk might have been involved in starting the beef between his C-Knee and the Bloodhounds. Meanwhile, others focused on defending the Bloodhounds rappers, establishing that they were far from being cap rappers. One commenter wrote, "I remember when all BDS got along, it seemed like after Durk and Lamron got into it with Tim, all BDS started beefing with each other. I could be wrong, but that's what seemed to set it off." Another person commented, "How can you call Bloodhound cap rappers when there's CCTV footage of half of their drills? The only reason Q50 isn't in jail is because it's Chicago. He'd be serving life in any other area, if not death penalty." A third person added, "You can't convince me a died chasing his op into his own crib ain't like that. It gaff Ye bro got smacked on that mission. But yak, how bold of a you really gotta be to chase your op to his house where yet gets a 50-50th chance you ain't making it back." The one truth that was witnessed by the world on camera seems to be what many are going by. They believe that Lil Jeff was gunned down while chasing Trap City Rob in his own hood. But what makes it more intriguing while being linked to Lil Durk is that Lil Jeff died not long after he signed YFG Fatso. This might spawn some to consider the fact that amid the back and forth between Fatso and the Bloodhounds, there was zero killing in between until the OTF signee was welcomed to the fold. Although it's merely theory and there's no hard facts to prove Lil Durk's involvement, some fans have been able to point out that Fatso celebrated Lil Jeff's death like his fellow ops. A Reddit poster shared the rapper's post of himself shortly after Lil Jeff's death. In the post, Fatso could be seen popping a smoke, yet he captioned the update, "Princeton, the stars, the limit. It's all a mental game, play hard and win. Always remember the toughest die first. Album coming August 28th, 24 # on Jeffrey #free 4Nem." Apart from this update, Fatso was also consistent in liking disses against Lil Jeff, so this left many wondering if he really had it in for the deceased. Meanwhile, at this time, the Bloodhounds were mourning their dear friend and brother by sharing different photos via their Instagram stories. Not long after Lil Jeff died, Lil Scoom, another one of Fatso's op, was shot dead. This time, Fatso did little to conceal his emotions. Via a clip, the young rapper was spotted chilling with a group of guys who were suspected to have attacked and killed Lil Scoom. Although they said little and posed more by doing gang signs, this was enough to show that Fatso was affiliated with his ops killers. All the dissing didn't go unnoticed as the Bloodhounds rappers also spoke up, condemning Fatso's move. Hood Tally, aka Philip, who saw Lil Jeff as his brother, shared via Instagram stories, "Fatso gon' get his lip touch, keep dissing my Lil Bruda." Following the warning, a few months later, Q50 referred to Fatso as a little boy who was all bark and no bite. He goes,
"Damn.
Put his ass without terror. First grade, you on that side now, little boy. That's a little boy."
So far, Fatso hasn't proven to be much of a threat, nor has he been directly linked to a murder. However, fans began to think otherwise following his arrest in October 2024, just 4 months after Lil Jeff's death. Although it was not insinuated that he partook in any crime, this arrest also comes after his boss, Lil Durk, was apprehended for a murder-for-hire plot. Lil Durk and OTF members arrested in murder-for-hire case. OTF record owner Lil Durk is being held up in the Metropolitan Prison Detention Center. On October 25th, the rapper was arrested in Florida alongside 5 other OTF affiliates. These men, including Lil Durk, Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, Asa Houston, and David Bryan Lindsay, were charged with the heavy crime of murder for hire, all in connection to the death of Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pab. This was all in retaliation for the killing of King Von, one of Lil Durk's C-Knee, who was shot outside of a lounge by Quando Rondo's friend, Lil Tim. Following the unsealing of the indictment, the OTF crew in custody were charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, committing murder for hire involving a death and the use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in death. According to court documents, Lil Durk had set the perfect crime in motion while trying as hard as possible not to be affiliated with the crime scene. However, little did he know that his undoing was very close to him in the form of a close associate whom he referred to as a friend. Legal papers explained that Lil Durk was snitched on by a member of his OTF gang. This OTF member had served a 12-year sentence before his release. Following his freedom from jail, he went ahead to become a federal informant. This was a deal nobody in the OTF would have thought was made, as the snitch, later identified as OTF Jam, was well welcomed into their fold. In fact, he made several videos acknowledging his support and loyalty to Lil Durk due to the rapper's benevolence. Meanwhile, OTF Jam was being laced with a wire, ready to extract as much information whenever he was with his fellow OTF members. Now Lil Durk is facing the possibility possibility of a lifetime behind bars owing to the wealth of evidence against him, all thanks to the snitch and his crew. Prosecutors maintained that Lil Durk had financed the killing of Quando Rondo back in 2022. However, his cousin was killed. He contracted all 5 defendants who took their time in planning the murder, while Lil Durk provided financial support. According to the authorities, Lil Durk wanted Quando Rondo dead, so he placed a bounty on his head. As for those who showed interest in claiming the bounty, the rapper promised them juicy music deals and money for compensation. On August 18, 2022, all 5 of the hitmen learned about Quando Rondo's location at a Los Angeles hotel, so they immediately tailed him by taking a flight from Chicago to San Diego before driving to Los Angeles, all in desperation to do Lil Durk's bidding. But while they tried to please their financier, he clearly told them that they shouldn't make him a part of the deal. Via a message to the crew, Lil Durk texted, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Once the 5 killers all arrived at their base, they made the perfect plan, which involved hiring vehicles, 2 luxury sedans, ski masks to cover their faces, and firearms. The crew then waited until the next day before they struck. The unsuspecting victim, Quando. Rondo was in the company of his cousin, and together they drove around town, minding their business. At first, the pair who drove around in a Cadillac Escalade visited a Los Angeles marijuana dispensary before reaching a West Hollywood clothing store. After having their fill for the day, the duo headed to a gas station around the Beverly Center to refuel their vehicle, and that was when tragedy struck. 2 of the 5 defendants, Lindsay and an unnamed defendant, saw Quando Rondo's stop as an opportunity to open fire on him. But in the end, they successfully shot and killed his cousin, who was standing outside of the Cadillac Escalade. Following their criminal activity, the group reconvened in an In-N-Out hamburger stand to discuss payment. As soon as it was a done deal, they dispersed to their individual locations. Authorities confirmed that the defendants were taken unaware during their arrest, and they had no time to plan an escape. However, Lil Durk, the mastermind of it all, was convinced that he was going to go down, especially after the police had arrested his affiliates. So he quickly scheduled flights to different countries, including Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy, all in an attempt to confuse the authorities. But Lil Durk's plans failed, as he was apprehended in Miami, moments before he intended to board a private jet to Italy. Maybe Lil Durk's life would have taken a different turn if he didn't listen to fans who forced him into sliding for King Von. Indeed, King Von was murdered in November 2020 outside of the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. This happened during a confrontation he had with Quando Rondo, escalated into a full-blown war between their crews. In an attempt to rescue Quando Rondo from a fight and defend himself, Lil Tim shot at King Von, an act that ended the rapper's life. Over the last few years, Quando Rondo has been in a back and forth with Lil Durk and King Von. At first, the beef began online, particularly between Quando Rondo and King Von, but it soon escalated into a physical fight that was recorded on the night King Von died. While recounting the incident with Angela Yee in a 2021 interview, Quando Rondo explained,
"Like, I'm thinking it's some regular individuals. If I would have just tried to walk through them, so I'm letting this group come by. Next thing you know, it hit me. You feel me? Boom, bam. Man, like, I lie to you not, man. I lie to you not. Like, it's like I had an out-of-body experience."
That night, King Von wasn't the only person who died. The authorities reported that 2 others fell to their deaths. About 48 hours after the incident, the Atlanta Police Department released a statement confirming that the APD homicide unit secured arrest warrants against 22-year-old Timothy Leaks, aka Lil Tim, for felony murder in the shooting death of Davon Bennett. Lil Tim, a close friend of Quando Rondo, was later arrested, but was granted the option of posting bond after his appeal to the Supreme Court. After 2 years, the court declared Lil Tim blameless, as prosecutors confirmed that his action was all in self-defense. To loyal fans of King Von, it was difficult to concede defeat, so they refused to stay quiet, and they constantly asked Lil Durk when he'd avenge his signee and friend, while maintaining that he was weak for not doing so. Eventually, 2 years after losing King Von, Lil Durk set things in motion, aiming to end Quando Rondo's life. This all happened in the background, coming to light only after his arrest. What the world saw after King Von's death was a Lil Durk who wasn't interested in street killings. In fact, he shunned the fans directly, telling them that he would never slide for Von. But eagle-eyed fans would have known otherwise, that Lil Durk was probably onto something. Amid the fake persona he put up claiming not to be all about killing, the rapper kind of told on himself during an interview with DJ Academics. When the interviewer asked about sliding for Von, Lil Durk mentioned that he wasn't hearing the buzz online anymore.
Still, I don't know if people still say it. They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying slide for Von. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, that song is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more.
As for what Lil Durk's life has become now, he is currently still being held up without bail. While Lil Durk was initially slapped with the murder for hire charge, subsequently, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California added another fresh charge, hinting that the rapper wasn't getting it any easier. These charges included 1 count of use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms and a machine gun, and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. This was the second time the prosecutors would be filing another charge. Recall that in October it was simply a murder for hire charge, but on November 7th, the 4-count superseding indictment was filed. This death was related to the fatal shooting of an alleged leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples gang living around Chicago's far south side. The prosecutors maintained that Lil Durk had masterminded the killing of Stephen Mack, who died on January 27, 2022. The deceased was attacked by assailants who tracked him to the Youth Peace Center of Roseland on West 111th Street. This was in retaliation for the death of Lil Durk's brother by Dante Banks, who was shot outside a nightclub in South Suburban Harvey in 2021 by another Gangster Disciples faction with ties to Smashville. These retaliatory killings might have fueled the opinion that Lil Durk was indeed the god of karma, as he never left without exacting revenge on his ops. But did he have a hand in Lil Jeff's death? For now, there is no evidence pointing to the authenticity of this claim, which leads us to our final part. Lil Jeff's murder remains unsolved. During his lifetime, Lil Jeff touted his horns about murdering his ops. Like Lil Durk, he never forgave. Lil Jeff went on to claim that he had taken the lives of 11 people, both male and female. To further prove his point, the rapper inked his neck with teardrop signs signifying the number of his victims. One of the well-known killings, which also made him famous, was when he gunned down 2 teenagers who were students of Innovations High School. His reason? Well, they had taunted him too often after stealing his chains. Finally and unexpectedly, months after his last killing spree, the streets witnessed the downfall of a killer god who felt untouchable. Surveillance footage captured the moment when Lil Jeff died while chasing a man in yellow shorts in between buildings. Like we've established before, this was none other than Trap City Rob, who, although wielding a gun, ran for his life while shooting at his attacker. The camera spotted when Lil Jeff approached his op from the car. After shooting multiple times, Lil Jeff was hit and he fell to the ground. But Lil Jeff wasn't the only Bloodhounds member in the area that day. In a different clip, some members of the Bloodhounds, including Q50, Lil Jeff's cousin, led a retaliatory attack. This time, the Bloodhounds appeared successful after chasing down their ops with multiple bullets flying around. Once the mission was completed, the crew headed back into their vehicle, leaving behind one of their own. But Q50 later returned to the crime scene to carry the body of his dead cousin, Lil Jeff. Reportedly, Lil Jeff was hit 19 times, and since he wasn't attended to as quickly as possible, he lost a lot of blood and eventually his life. When the police reached the area, they were shocked to find multiple bullet casings in the area, however. This only signified that there had been a gang feud. After sealing the place, the police got to work, trying to identify those who had been involved in the crime. But it appeared to be a mystery, as there was no body found on scene. Neither were the perpetrators caught in the act. Still, this did not slow down their investigations, as the authorities fired on, trying to get a hold of a suspect. Consequently, in October 2024, they reached a break in the case and arrested Trap City Rob for the murder of Lil Jeff. But the suspect was cut loose the next day as the police found no evidence against him. However, it is worthy to note that Trap City Rob is back in jail due to weapons possession. While the police struggled to make meaningful headway, online investigators, aka fans, had theorized about Lil Jeff's death. Some looked to his homies for answers, questioning the fact that they failed to protect Lil Jeff. One person wrote, literally, the one who was about to bring in all y'all up with him, possibly gonna feed the whole fam. Y'all let this happen to y'all star. Shouldn't even been there in the first place. On the other hand, a few others felt absolutely nothing but sheer sadness for the dead. One commenter quipped, "Guy didn't even run back to the car or anything, just walked. Probably got a clear sight of them shooting his homie and knew it was over. The realization probably hit all 3 of those guys like a truck when they got back in and drove off." The impact of Lil Jeff's death was felt by the rap community, and despite the criticism he attracted when alive, many felt sympathetic after his demise. One of his friends and colleagues, Da Tweaker, went on Instagram to share back-to-back stories featuring Lil Jeff. While sharing one of the pictures, he wrote, "I love you, I'ma be with you real soon." He went on to add, "And Bruda, this don't feel real." More tributes poured in with numerous rappers showing their love to one of Chicago's fallen heroes. Lil Jeff's girlfriend, who goes by the name P Money, even left a heart-wrenching message stating how much she missed her lover. According to her post, "You would be so mad that I let the world know you really was a sweetheart. You did whatever for me. Literally, I never understood how y'all was so scared of him. He was my BFF, my Clyde, my escape, my whole world." While the condolences rained in the enemy's camp, it was a totally different story. Trap City Rob, Rob could care less about the killing, and he didn't want to have anything to do with the topic. In an interview, he talked about how the streets were running wild with theories, before adding that he acted to protect himself. He goes,
I see the videos, I see that shit. I was like, there's 6 out there, you know? It's crazy, bro. Like,
Trap City was later dubbed Defensive Player of the Year for his role in the assault situation. Fans thought this was a good enough name since Trap City Rob not only defended his life, but his neighborhood. The killing went on in his neighborhood, on the front porch of his grandmother's house. Trap City Rob later revealed that he had shared the home with his grandma. Although Trap City Rob refused to go on about gunning down his op, the rapper joined his crew in mocking Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds after the incident. Trap City shared a video showing several of his homies stationed at the home where the rapper was killed. They even recreated the murder scene. In the video, one of the crew members acted out Lil Jeff's movement during the chase that killed him. As he reaches the door, he falls down, mimicking Lil Jeff's fall after getting shot. This was followed by loud laughs and cheers from the other Trap City members who were watching the scenario. This did not go down well with Lil Jeff's dad, Jeffrey Harris, who issued a stern warning to the group. Via a Facebook post, he quipped, "And to let it be known, y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all, and what happened happened." But the saga continued. Clear the streets. Indeed, the saga has continued as there have been more deaths recorded. However, the real perpetrator, Trap City Rob, is still alive and well, and probably trying to reach a deal with the authorities, especially with his new move of allegedly bringing Lil Durk into the picture. All good things must end, and with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching and wouldn't mind more of such content, click on one of them on the screen.